Alright, so this is my second vlog and my first interaction with Angie, talking about our cultural and geographical differences. So the biggest thing that I found, like, it was super comfortable. Actually, we're friends for the most part, and we were just giggling the whole time. Really cool to see all the differences between us, but also like a lot of similarities. I had no idea that El Salvador was so much like America. They have our currency. We learned that in class the other day. And also just they have a lot of our similar cultural things. But the biggest thing that she talked about, so like we talked about what her day looks like. And basically she talked about her college over there was very, they were based on traits, like, so that, or schooling. They picked a specific school for whatever field they were going to go into. So she picked communications, what she's doing now. So, but they were like super long days, like from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every night. So she said when she got here, it was nice to have breaks in the day to be able to take naps, things like that. Just really cool. She said there were these places called, in Spanish, I can't remember what it was, but the couches where people would just sleep throughout the day, and her friends would just go there. And so she didn't have a car either, so her parents would drop her off at the end of the day. She'd be stuck there all day and study, things like that. But that was a big difference. So things that she worried about, she said in high school, were college and scholarships and sleeping. Very similar to me. I worried a lot about that too whenever I was in high school, which college and scholarships, things like that. But she was worried about the English, but she was taking classes at night to help her with English whenever she did get here and things like that. So she was prepared. So the holidays and traditions are super, super similar to ours. They have Easter, like us. They grew up with American currency, like I said. But this is the coolest thing. El Salvador means the savior. And so every city in El Salvador, which is super small, she said that Arkansas is 6 times bigger than El Salvador. But she said that each city has a saint, like their town or their city is named after a different saint. And so for every city, they each have their own celebration for that saint, and it's a week long. And so that's like a different holiday that they have. And so just like her city, they celebrate a certain week for their saint, but then other cities do the same. But then for the capital, the last 2 days, a whole country celebrates together. And they said they have like a fair, things like that. The main religion there is Catholic. So that's not super different from here. We have more like Christian based, and Catholic is too. But she goes to a Baptist church at home. Her father is a pastor, and so is mine. So we found that similarity. Let's see, they celebrate Christmas, but they do it the 24th, and they pray at midnight, and there's also fireworks, so that's super cool. The roles are basically the same that we have here. She said here it's more equal, though. There's a lot more, like, men are the boss. Women have more of like nursing jobs, or they do hair, things like that, unless it's a gay man, she said. And I mean, that's pretty similar here. It's changed a lot recently, but I mean, I grew up with that kind of mindset that like men were the leaders and women were those that kind of worked under men, but it's starting to change a lot, obviously. She had a big family. She's very close with all of them, like me, but like geographically, she lived around beaches, volcanoes, and she said one more. I can't remember. Oh, and lakes. She has no forests. She said there were some trees, so when she came here, it was like trees, and the fact that she could just drive like 30 minutes from place to place, like from the beach, then she'd be at a volcano. But for us, we have to drive hours at a time to go to a different landform, so that was a lot different. And also because of that, like, that's a big reason her parents don't like her to like drive around here, because they're so used to like taking so little time driving from place to place to get somewhere different, but to get somewhere different here, you have to drive for hours, you know, from here to another state. And she said that was crazy to her, going from Texas to Arkansas over the break. She said it was the longest trip of her life. And for us, that's so normal, you know, pretty cool. And so we both drew maps of our places, or places that were really important to us. I drew one of my home growing up. It's just my childhood home, and it was really special to me because that's where I developed the relationship with the sisters that I have, my sisters. But then she drew a picture of, or a map of her home. So when she was little, she grew up in this place. It's called, I'm gonna butcher this, Antigua, oh no, Cuscation. She's gonna hate me for that. But basically, this place was a smaller town. It's right on the border, or right by the city where she lives now. So if you can see that. So she just remembers like being close enough to the city to be able to do fun things there, but also she was in a like more of a homey place where she got to really grow and develop with her family, and she was close to the beach, about 30-minute drive. And this beach was more homey, she said, while this beach over here on this island was more like popular, kind of a fancy beach, things like that. So yeah, I went way over time, but it wasn't awkward. Like, I don't know, we're so similar. Like, it's really cool to figure out, like, she speaks a different language and she lives hundreds of miles away, and yet, like, we lived a very, very similar life growing up. Just like geographically was the biggest difference. I lived near lakes and forest, whereas she lived near a beach and a volcano, which is super cool. But it wasn't awkward. It was actually really, really fun and insightful. So anyway, I really enjoyed it.